Hey, welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. So in here we're going to create basic code for our plugin sample. So this is inside Thunder Samples plugin sample here. Okay, so this is the basic code that you would expect to use no matter what the plugin is doing. So here we'll put a controller hook. And let's put a function that will run when that happens. Okay, so there it is. So add action, function, good. So code for your... Now, usually the code for the controller here, to keep the plugin lean and clean, we would do this instead. We would say require plugin path, and within the plugin path we'll say controllers controller.php, something like this. Okay, so we require that file, and then we will duplicate this a few times. And here we're going to have view. Okay, so on view we have views, that's fine. And then finally we'll add a filter here. And the filter is after query. So when somebody runs a query, this is what happens. Now filters receive data. So here we're going to receive data, and they must return data. So we'll say return data, like that. So you can manipulate the data in between here, change it, and then return it back. And what else? Let's add another filter over here. Now this filter is for permissions. So we receive permissions and we have to return those permissions because this is a filter. Like that. Then in between here we can add more permissions as we wish. So we can do this and say is equal to, and then you can say my permission. Now usually I don't like to put spaces in permissions, so I put underscore instead, like that. That's just a practice of mine, but I think it's not really necessary, but I like to do it that way. So you can add as many permissions as you want here. You can just keep duplicating like this and add different permissions there. Okay, so with this in mind, everything is good. We're putting these in order of how they probably will run. And then finally here, we will add some variables to start with. So here I'm just going to say, in fact, let me do this. Actually, if I just press enter, this happens. Okay, great. Oops. How do I stop this? Maybe something like this. Okay, so this is just for commenting here. Let's do this. Plugin name. Okay. And then we put an author. Now this information is just for whoever is reading the plugin itself to know more details, but it's not used in the operation of the plugin itself. So this is entirely up to you what you want to put here. maybe not put all of these things. Those are better in the thing here. All we want to do is just say, let's just put a description. I think that is enough. Then you can put any other text that you need somebody to know. In this case, plugin name. We'll leave these as they are. And then what we want to do is set some variables. So we're going to set value. This is how we set values here. And then inside the controller or the view, we probably need those values. So I'm going to say vars. Let's just call them vars, and we'll say get value, like that. Okay, so let's grab that and put it here, like so. That way, whatever values you set here and set there, you can still access them here as well. So in set value, because we can use the key, because normally you can set value by using key and a value pair like this, but in this case we don't want it to be long, so we're just going to add an array instead, like so. So there are values that you normally are going to be using a lot, like for example the plugin route. This is how does this work? Oh, we use arrow notation, right? So this one we're just gonna say my plugin, something like this. Okay. Then usually you may have table names, for example. So now the reason we're going to have, this is not a must to do this, but it's good practice, because let's say for example you want your plugin to run on, when somebody types my website /profile, for example, then you're going to put profile here on the plugin route. That way, if you change your mind, you just need to change that in one place, and it changes for the entire plugin, which is good practice because it makes it very versatile and mobile. So plugin route, and here we want, what else can we add? Table names, you know, table, my table. Table names don't have, they have underscores instead, so we'll say my table like this. So let me move this like so. Okay, so this is just how you set variables here. Okay, so you set those variables, you can add whatever you want, and then they'll be accessible here as well. And then there's a query that's going on here. We can expand on this, but let's not, because we don't know how a user will use that data that's returned here. But this data here we're receiving is coming from the model. If you look at the model here, we have the after query. Once we wait, no, it's from the database actually. So whenever a query is run, at the end of it we have a filter called after query, and this is the data it brings us, this array which has the query name, the data, results, and query ID as well, and the results themselves. So that's what you can deal with here. So you can just do maybe a for each loop. You can say data results. Is it results or result? Singular. It's result. Okay. As row, something like that. Okay. And here normally you would be like if not empty, and you grab that guy. Let's put that there. Now instead of putting these, but then we'll have two returns. I don't like having two returns here, but it's up to you what your preference is really. I'll do it like this. Though I don't like going in 3 levels deep, but okay, let me just do this. Let's not suffer. That way we can move these guys out. Oops. Yeah. Okay, so if the result is empty, we can return and not manipulate anything. And if it is fine, we'll manipulate and return data. Okay. All right. Then we can put some comments here. I don't know, for okay, so there we go. So please put comments that you think are appropriate on one of these. Okay, and runs code. Usually for a post. Let's see, what can we say here? Run this after a form submit. Usually that's what it's used for. And set user permissions for this plugin, like that. Okay, great. Alrighty then. Okay, so that's our basic plugin file over here. So let's see this thing in action. So if I go to my basic auth here, let me look. I have JSON. This is a basic JSON file. So I'll copy this and I will go to my sample config and paste there. So this would just be, I'll just call it new plugin. And let's do that here and say new plugin. Okay, so put an author there, routes. Now you could put dependencies here as well. That's an idea. Like this. Now this could be for the future, because you could have plugins that need other plugins to run. Like for example, there are plugins that need the admin plugin to run because they run on the admin page. So you could have somewhere to show dependencies here. So maybe like it depends on what do we do here? Anyway, this is a future thing, so we don't know whether to use an array or object yet, so I'll leave that be for now. What else? So this runs on all pages. That's the ID, author. Now you can put more details here, like for example author website. Maybe I don't need that over here. I can do this. Okay, so maybe in the CSS we can put something like box sizing, border box, and then we can put something like body, font family, let's put Tahoma. Okay, just those two, just to keep things visible. Okay, here we can leave the JavaScript be. Alright, so let's test this. Now what I'm gonna do is delete every plugin in here because we really don't need them for now. Let me see what I'm missing. Page plugin. Okay, great. So I'm going to go to my plugin folder, open that up, and just delete everything, not the htx access file, of course. Just delete every plugin in there. Okay, so what happens now when we try to run our system and it says no plugins we have found, please put at least one plugin in the plugins folder. Okay, good. So in that case, what we're going to do is go to our command line, navigate to the project folder, and then type PHP and say Thunder and say make plugin. So what plugin name are we going to create? This one will just be maybe the, what do we say, basic auth, for some basic authentication. Then press enter. So plugin creation complete, plugin folder, that's that. So now if I refresh, this is what I get. Say this is a plugin. This plugin is being rendered from the file plugins blah blah blah. See, that's wrong slash there. Wait, plugins basic blah blah blah. Okay, so for Windows, yeah, this is a Windows thing. But as you can see, the CSS didn't load. So what I'm gonna do is, if I go back here, that's one thing I forgot. In the view file here, I want us to include, that's in the view sample here, I want us to include a link for your style sheet. And then here we're gonna use the plugin HTTP path, like so, and then concatenate to it, or we could just close that and put the rest here. So we're gonna say assets css style.css. all right, so this is just to show the user how they can do that, and then we will do the same thing. We'll put a script, and let's put the source just like this. I'll put this in here and change it to source. So this one goes to JS and it's plugin.js. Alright, so that's our new sample now. And so what I'll go to plugins and delete the plugin folder here. And let's close all files. So let's come back, refresh, there are no plugins. We get back here and run the same command again. So plugin creation complete. Let's now refresh. Okay, so something is going wrong still. Let's go to view page source. And this is the path we have for why do we have this slash going this way? Right. Okay. So if I click on this file right now, it should show me, it says forbidden, which means you don't have permission to access this resource. Why I do not have permission? That's interesting. Let's see. Localhost. This looks about right. Views. Okay. So views there is wrong. So where is that coming from? Even here there is views. Okay, so let's check it out. View sample, assets, plugin. Okay, so let's see where the function is. I'm gonna copy this and let's go to functions. Let's find it. Okay, plugin HTTP path, plugin path. What's happening here? Where is views coming from? That's the source of the file. I see. Okay, so that makes sense because the view file is within views that code it. Yes. So I guess we should find a way to remove the extra stuff here as well. So how can we do this? Let's plug in basic auth. Okay, so what I'll do is this. I'll come back here. So the fault is within get plugin dir here. So there's a directory separator, and then path. Okay, plugins. Okay, so here we have a final path with parts 1. Okay, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to echo the path here, like so. That way if I come here, I will see it here. So plugins, basic auth. Okay, so it's just being echoed many times. So what I'll do is I'll do this instead. DD, so that I can see it every time it is echoed. Right. Okay, what I'll do is I'll undo this and let's just put a break tag. Like so. Okay, so wherever we see the break tag, we know that's the... So everything is fine here. Plugins, basic auth, plugin. So this returns the correct value. Okay. Even for here, so that's fine. So I'll remove this. So which means the problem really still is here. So root get plugin dir backtrace. So here what I'll do is I'll copy without the path here. I'll just copy this. Before the return, I will echo that. Okay, so it ends here before the HTTP. So views is coming from here. So let's fix that. Alright, so the issue is right here. So what I'm going to do is, I think we need to explode this twice so that we get just the first part, which is the directory itself. So I'll duplicate this and I'm going to do this, directory separator, and put parts 0 like this. So what I would do is I'll repeat this process here is equal to explode, because the result that I'm getting isn't complete, it's got extra stuff, so I just want to get the first part from that. So I'll do this and let me remove this and that. So let's do this. Alright, Okay, so parts we explode. We just get the first part that we want from there. So we explode with plugin. Then we get the second part actually. So let me explain this a little bit. Imagine the path is like this. C something and then plugins and then slash basic auth and then views and then view.php. Maybe let's say that's the source. So what will happen is we explode where there is a slash, a plugins, and a slash. So which is right here. We explode there, and then we'll get two parts, the first part and the second part. So now here we're getting one, which is the second part, so which means we get rid of this, like so, and we remain with this. So once we remain with this, we explode again. This time we're exploding with directory separator here we put, and then we're exploding between there, just with the ds here, over that second part, which is this one. So we are exploding wherever there is this. And then we just want the first part here, which is this one. And then we just put plugins and the directory separator to that to get the plugin path. So which means we'll have this, like so. That's what we return. And that's what I wanted, actually. So hopefully that fixes our problem. So let's go back and let's refresh. Okay, so warning, failed to open stream. Let me do it from here. Let's see. Plugins, basic, auth, and then we are missing a slash at the end. So let me grab this and let me do dot directory separator like that. So let's see if that solves the problem, and there it is. Now the source, let's see what's wrong with this. Okay, we are echoing something in there which we are not supposedly supposed to. So let me remove this. Okay, so now that things have changed there, we see that it's working as intended. So our CSS and JavaScript are being loaded, and we can tell that by viewing the source and then clicking on the files to see them. If I go back and click on the plugin.js, I can see it there, which means everything is working as intended. Okay, so this is a plugin being rendered from, and it will show you that that's where it's being rendered from. Now if you want to fix these so that they are all the same, you can do that, but it doesn't matter because mostly we'll be dealing with a Linux system and they'll be uniform, so that's okay. And if we create another plugin, so let's try this plugin creation again one more time. So I'm just going to close everything and remove the basic auth folder from there. So no plugins left, and if I remove, there we go. So if I try to create a new plugin, it works. Now we have a plugin. If I repeat the same action, it will say plugin folder already exists, so I can try again, but create another one called maybe homepage. Now they don't have to be 2 words for each plugin. You can use 1 word, that's fine. And there it is. And then we can have another plugin called header footer. Okay, so just like that, we have 3 plugins now. This is a plugin, this is rendered from here, this is rendered from there, this is rendered from there. So you can decorate these as you wish. For example, maybe put margins so that you can tell when there are 2 or more and stuff like that. But this is good enough for us. At least now we can easily create a plugin. If I go to the plugin folder now, you see this is what has happened. we have 3 plugins, and inside each one we have folders, controllers, models, even though there's nothing there, and views, and we also have a JSON and plugin file. Alrighty guys, so we need to complete our Thunder PHP tool here, because we need to be able to create a migration file and a new model. Once we do that, we are complete. So I think I would say we have just one more video to do, and then we can start generating plugins. I'll see you in the next video.